Welcome everybody to the Chinchilla Pickin' Podcast. It is May the 11th, 2025 at 3:24 p.m. As always, we hope to be entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make money. My name is David Underwood, and I'm joined by the one and only Baron of Bonds himself, Brandon Beaver. Brandon, I'm
I
not changing your
am.
nickname.
The nickname is I don't need Rambo of capitalism. That is my nickname. The
No, it's the
Baron of
Baron of Bonds.
Okay,
I
but
got
now it's
t-shirts made.
yeah, but now it's unironic.
I
Okay.
know, but like it's I've been calling you that nickname for I don't know how many years now. I can't change it.
I mean, I said that bonds previously were dead because they were, and 3 4 years ago. But I've always been good at figuring out where bonds are going to go, and also I've been good at figuring out how to use bonds to determine where the stock market's going to go too. So it's correct. I am the Baron of Bonds. But more importantly, I'm the Rambo of capitalism.
There you go. You can call yourself that. The rest of us will call you the Baron.
Fine. Dave, I'm the smartest person I know. So it means a lot to me that I think that much of myself.
I'm glad your self-esteem cannot be tinted or tainted or broken down at all. You do not have a glass ego. Your
Yeah,
ego is strong there,
yeah,
sir.
absolutely.
So, um I also agree that I am the smartest person I know. So, let's let this battle of egos begin. Oh man, always a blast, Brandon. It's always a blast. Um, Lots of earnings lately, man. Any quick tidbits of earnings that's happened that we don't want to go in detail about, but like you found interesting this past week?
I don't know if it was last week, but AMD's earnings I thought were interesting.
Yeah, what
I
about them?
wonder if it came in the last week though. I don't even know what the timeline on was that. I was just reading about AMD's earnings. I mean, just being very strong. And Outlook was very strong with AMD, and it just to me it says that the AI trade is going to be revived at some point. There's no decline in demand for these chips.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't see a decline either. That's why Nvidia is a good solid play if you're still going with that demand play there. I mean, Trump was announcing more nuclear, which is great for GE Vernova.
Yeah.
Whenever administration at the beginning in the first year of their administration is saying they want to push nuclear, they got 3.5 more years to push it. That's a good amount of time. That's good for a company like GE Vernova.
Everybody should have exposure, I think, to the industry of energy. And I think GE Vernova should be your first pick. With the re-electrification of the world that we've talked about, all these data centers that are being built, Taiwan Semiconductor building, I don't know, a 13, what is it, like a $13 million factory or something? I don't know. I
Yep.
can't remember how high that number is, but all these things are going to have to be powered one way or another. I think that at some point in time, we're going to have to rethink the grid structure of the United States. We probably should have done it years ago. But with everything that's controlled by government or monopolized by government, of course, we're behind on it.
Yep.
But one of the biggest companies that's going to benefit most from this is going to be GE Vernova.
Yeah, and I agree. And I own it. A lot of my stocks that I own that I've been quote unquote a little bit down on recently, I am profitable in. I believe I haven't checked GE Vernova in a minute. Now that we're talking about it,
You should
but
have followed me into the GE company split. You'd have it at a lot better of a price.
you know what? I agree. I would have it at a lot better price. I am, however, positive in it right now. I'm positive in all my positions right now. I am profitable in everything.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you and going to say this with the utmost humility that I sold GE Vernova. And I'm now kind of looking for a way to get back in, and it makes me feel like a complete idiot that I did that because now I'm going to buy back in higher than what I sold it for, which is goofy. But
Yeah, but I mean, there's if you had a good reason for selling it, you saw too many headwinds, or you didn't think the growth was sustainable. If there was good reason for it, then there's nothing wrong with taking your profit and looking for other opportunities.
yeah,
You
I
should
had a
not
good
kick
time.
yourself for taking a win.
I think I tripled my gains on it or something
Yeah,
like.
so I mean, you took a win.
Yeah, and I was concerned about wind. Their exposure to the wind industry, which is not very efficient. But they're overcoming that, and they're experiencing phenomenal growth, and I really like it. My one holding for GE right now still is GE Aerospace. My average on that's about $56. So
Nice.
yeah, it's good times. And that's a good turnaround. And I'm going to talk about another company that's in the midst of a turnaround right now that I think
Well,
Nick got right.
we'll get there in a
We'll
minute.
get
We'll
there.
get there in a minute. I know you want to dig right in. Brandon's already ready to go, man. Ready to go. Yeah, no other real big, huge, um, really big news that I saw as far as companies go. I know Solana, I've talked about that. It's up. It's up, I believe. If I got to do my math right now on the fly in my head, over 20% week over week.
Nice.
Uh, a lot of that has to do with the Bitcoin rally. So I'm happy with my Solana move. I'm happy with my Bitcoin rally. Um, yeah, crypto. I mean, I'm not going to get into crypto on the show here, so I'm just going to spend 30 seconds real quick. XRP has ran into a wall with some of their movement. Their big holders, the people who own 10 million or $100 million worth, have bought more, 10% more on average. But XRP hasn't moved. That means everybody else is selling. So it's just going to be consolidated. XRP sounds like. Solana is continued to move higher. There's a lot more movement in here. Crypto remains an area where you can create something new, come up with something brand new, make a lot of money really fast, and get out. However, it does take a lot of work and it's very, very risky. So it's very anytime you do something very risky, yeah, there could be huge payoffs, but there could be huge losses. So be careful. Take your time. I prefer to stick with the big boys who actually have a purpose behind the coin.
Right.
So,
That makes
you
sense.
know. All right, let's get into it. Rules, rules, rules. Brandon and I get together 5 to 10 minutes before the show, and we tell each other what we're going to talk about. You hear the live back and forth, the bicker and the banter right here on the show for you. Yeah, you know what, Brandon, go ahead, take it away.
Okay.
I
All
was
right.
gonna change it on you. I was, but then I was like, nah, go ahead.
Yeah, we've had a lot of political bickering and bantering about the price of eggs lately. That's been in the headlines. Oh, President Trump's been in office for over $100, 100 days. What's he done to the price of eggs? Or price of eggs are going to come down because of Trump. Whatever. I don't. The whole thing has been the price of eggs has been such a controversy in ways that we've never seen before in the past 3 to 6 months. By the way, part of that. I mean, we've had the avian flu hit, so there was a shortage of eggs too. But some of this is sustainable because there are reports that show that 71% of consumers want to increase their intake of protein over the next year. So there's a lot of dieting and a lot of things that are protein centered that are kind of gonna sustain this trend for a little bit and that have increased the price as well. Go ahead, Dave.
Do you think that has to do with the weight loss drugs? Because when you're on a GLP-1 drug, in order to not have the muscle loss that a lot of people are having and to maintain some sort of physique as you lose the fat all the way down over time, you have to increase your amount of protein you're taking in. And a lot of people are realizing this. So such companies like Vitamin Shop and GNC have a whole wall or a whole section of their store that's GLP-1 supplements, and high protein is part of it.
I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
that's probably part of it. It probably absolutely is part of it.
Yeah, because I mean, what we said was like, I forget, I'm throwing this off the top of my head and I could be completely wrong here, but something like 15, 20 million Americans are currently on a GLP-1.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot of business.
Wow, that's a lot. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how do you make money off this? And the answer is there's a company called Cal-Maine Foods that's the largest shell egg provider in the United States. with most of its business here in the US too, so we're not going to have any agricultural tariffs that affect it, other than the cost of feed, which is, I think, 50% of their costs. Um, but I think it's couch change to them. They're very big. Analysts hardly ever cover them for some reason. I was looking for analyst ratings and such just out of curiosity, and they're rarely ever covered. But I'm saying this is a buy, but let me tell you who they are first. They own brands like Eggland's Best, Land O'Lakes, and Farmhouse Eggs. Um, they sell liquid and frozen egg products primarily to institutional food service and food manufacturing service sectors, and hard shell eggs to consumers. Their largest customer is Walmart. That's about 34% of their net sales for fiscal 2024. For shell egg sales in fiscal 2024, approximately 89% of the revenue related to this to was related to retail customers and 11% to food service providers. Um, the shell egg production industry remains highly fragmented, I will say that, but they've got a large market right now. They've got a large control of the market. Um, and this is according to Egg Industry Magazine, which tells you how deep my research goes. We even know that that existed. There's a magazine for everything. But they said the 10 largest producers owned approximately 54% and 53% of the industry table egg layer hens at calendar year in 2023 and 2022, respectively. Essentially, what that means, in order to maintain your market share and to stay competitive, what's going to happen, and this is a negative, and what's happened for Cal-Maine Foods is that they have to acquire other companies. And they've been doing that. They've been acquiring other companies. But the good news about that is they've been doing it with very low, sometimes zero debt. In fact, the last annual quarter, they reported zero debt on their balance sheet.
And it's growing as a company because most companies that are growing have some sort of debt to pay for the infrastructure and growth. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Distribution, infrastructure, something.
Yes. So
Research.
there's been a lot of growth here actually in the past year due to what I believe are going to be one-offs, but there's going to be a balance to this that makes me think that this is still a buy. So the company delivered exceptional growth. Revenue surged 101.6% year over year. Part of that was because of the avian flu epidemic that created shortages in eggs on the supermarket shelves and partially drove up the prices. So that was attributable to the revenue. 88% of the eggs produced, though, in the past year have been sellable for them. So they're continuously keeping up a high percentage of quality products here, and they have had controls in place that have allowed the bird flu pandemic to not or epidemic, whatever it is, uh, to not to not really affect them all that much.
Okay.
So the prices have been good for them, but they haven't had their supply chain affected as much as the producers have.
How much? So they're when you say as much as their producers or their competitors, and you say they're selling 80%. What other competitors selling at?
88,
Like,
88%.
well, they're selling at 88%. What other
88%.
competitors selling at?
I don't have those. I don't have those numbers.
Because I'm looking for a comparison. Like, what's it compared to?
It,
Like, are their competitors selling at 86? So yeah, they're better, but only by 2%. You know what I mean?
oh,
Or
yeah. Yeah. So what I'm telling you right now is based on what I would call theory, because their volume has not been affected greatly by the bird flu, but volume has to have been affected greatly for other people. Otherwise, prices wouldn't have increased the way that they have. So I'm theorizing essentially
gotcha,
with comparison.
gotcha. Do
Uh,
they have any other business besides eggs?
yes, so I'll get into, but it's all egg based.
Okay.
Um, and this is actually kind of one of the things that I like too. They found something that they're good at, and they're just sticking to it, right? So some businesses like to de-worstify. That's what I call it. So they'll diversify into something that they have no idea what they're doing with, and then it's a complete failure. General Electric did that multiple times over the course of the 20th century, even when they were successful. I mean, they were making ovens for a while, and producing television sets and light bulbs and doing all kinds of things that they really shouldn't have been doing. And owning TV programs too for a while. But anyways, so this company is very focused, obviously, on their core product, which is eggs. They're the largest egg producer in the United States. They've been focusing on high margin specialty eggs, such as cage free and all that stuff that
Is there any
probably
brands
TikTok
that, like we
fads.
would know?
Yeah, Eggland's best in Land O'Lakes and farmhouse eggs.
And
So
so
I
they're the
think
company
everybody
that
knows
bought
Land
Land
O'Lakes.
O'Lakes. Got
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
They're the ones that bought it and then removed the Native American from the land
Yes.
in the picture. Yes,
I'm
got
sorry about that, Dave.
it. I'm joking. I'm joking. Got it. Eggland's best though. Those are decent eggs.
Yeah. Sold at Walmart.
Sold
They're
everywhere. Kroger,
yeah.
Walmart, Albertsons.
The majority of their customer or the majority of their revenue comes from the top three customers here, which is Walmart and Sam's Club, HEB, and Publix. But they also sell at Food Lion, Costco, Eggs America, Aldi, Southwest Specialty, CNS Wholesale, and CCF brands.
Gotcha. You know what's funny is I'm going to interrupt here. Walmart has recently said that they have seen a drop in their groceries, mainly in areas that they believe are affected by the GLP-1 drugs,
Yeah,
and people stop buying that sugary, high fat stuff.
right. There's a 7% dividend here right now too.
7%
7%.
yearly dividend.
And the stock is down 12% year to date. The trailing price to earnings ratio is 4.6. But again, I think the earnings, there was an increase of earnings of like 300% year over year
Wow.
last quarter. Um, One time increase here. And they're expecting that to continue through this year. And then they're expecting a 68% decline next year to kind of
Really?
level off. Yeah, I mean, the H1,
What's their ticker symbol?
CLA, I'm sorry, CALM.
CA. So
Calm.
calm.
Calm, yeah.
That's weird.
Which is what you were telling me to do during the tariff debates.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a
Calm.
few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't
Yeah,
irrational. I was just
BMO said that they have a price target of $100 a share. It's currently at
yeah,
91.
yeah. The price targets I was looking at, but there's not really many people covering this. I still think with the 12% decline here in the stock year to date, and I think it's been almost a 20% decline from its peak. And by the way, 2025 analysts are estimating $23.32 non-GAAP earnings per share. That's an increase of 309% year over year. Even with a 65% or 68% decrease that they're expecting for fiscal year 2026, I still think it's undervalued. Um, Earnings may be artificially inflated at this point for go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna let you know that I'm reading here this all these investor and no analysts calls on it and company calls,
Yeah.
and one name just jumps right out, and you may know this name. I don't know. Jim Cramer has come on and he recommended this as a you ready as a sell. Cal-Maine
Uh,
Foods as a sell.
See, I disagree. I mean, there's zero depth here. They're making strategic acquisitions, which actually makes sense for their brand. And every time they make an acquisition, it seems to increase their market share even more. They've got a $500 million buyback, 300%, like I said, increase in earnings per share for this year. We're going to have a decline next year, but it's still going to level out to into a way that this factors into the stock right now. I think is still undervalued.
They're in there. It was talking about Department of Justice investigation into egg prices and whether or not there was price gouging.
Yeah, but the price
That's what
gouging.
was cited.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. And the crazy thing about that is that the price of wholesale eggs, which is what they have, they're not selling it direct to consumer. They're selling it to Walmart, and then Walmart decides what they charge the consumer.
Yeah,
The wholesale prices are very heavily influenced by what the FDA recommends they sell them at. So
Gotcha.
if the Department of Justice wants to investigate Cal-Maine Foods, which they may very well because government's stupid, they should
Okay.
be investigating their own FDA and saying, why are you saying that, these wholesale prices? Why are you recommending these whole price? It actually, Cal-Maine, and they said this in their investor call, they actually have little influence over how they're selling their wholesale eggs, which is a negative for them because their wholesale price of eggs really is volatile. It's been a very volatile thing, up and down for years and years and years and years. But yeah, I mean, if the Department of Justice or whatever wants to investigate this, then they're going to have to be asking the FDA some questions as well.
All right.
It is. It's just a supply and demand
So
thing.
it's okay. I mean, Kramer's wrong.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not
so.
like
I think
he's
so.
wrong. It's not like he's wrong all the time, right?
But I do think that the price to earnings ratio of 4.6 looks lower than what it normally would because of the avian bird flu and because of the shortage of eggs that we've had, which is not going to be sustainable over the course of the long run. So that price to earnings ratio, even if it was like double at like 9, I would say that this company is a good, mature company to own. Um, for stable benefits and stable dividends, I should say.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Do you get free eggs if you're a big enough shareholder?
you should.
I think so.
Yeah,
What else you got, man?
it's a large cap company too. It was very surprising to me that
Well, I like
I
the
thought anyone
PE.
else
I
would
like
cover
the
it.
dividend. I like the PE. I like the dividend. I like that they own a big chunk of the market and they already have existing deals with companies.
Yeah,
You're looking for it to grow and through acquisitions and or growth of population or find other ways to, I don't know, grow the egg business. It's the growth is small but it's consistent. That's what
yes,
I'll say.
it's small. I mean, well, the growth last year over the last year has been pretty spectacular, and then this year's growth
But
too
the
has been
dividend makes it appealing. The
yes.
dividend makes it
Right,
appealing.
right. Let me see if I got anything else on this real quick. Oh, the other thing that I liked about it too is it's still family owned.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Their founder founded it like 60, 70 years ago, something. His name was Fred Adams Jr. And then Adolphus B. Baker is chairman of the board of directors. He controls the
Old
board
Adolphus.
100%. Yes, his name is Adolphus.
That guy's just,
So they're controlled
trouble.
by the family. The family still has a vote of 100% of the Class A Common A shares. A lot of people don't like that, but I do.
Gotcha.
I like that.
All right.
Yeah, it provides for more of a wholesome.
Yeah, whenever the original founders still own the company usually does better. It's
Yes,
that second generation and third generations is where you start to see some degradation, but not always. The Waltons have kept it together, so other people can too.
yeah, I like it. I like it. I think it's buy. I think it's something you should own. I'm not going to go overboard with it. It's not going to be. I mean, when 97% of American households buy eggs, and already the largest producer, over the long haul is not going to be Nvidia style growth here. You
Right?
know, but
It's
it's a
gonna be
good company to own
consistent,
and
consistent growth.
zero debt. You can't.
I believe as your portfolio grows and you get to a certain level, owning something that's a consistent growth company is good to have.
Right. I agree.
When you're starting off, you're looking for speculative, high returns, some long term investments. You're not really looking at the consistent growth companies. When I say starting off, I talk to a lot of people that starting off with $100 a paycheck or $20 a paycheck. They're looking for more for those high growth, high yield investments, but are kind of speculative. Not this type of company, but
Right.
this type of companies, once your portfolio matures, is a good one to own.
I agree. So I think everybody and their mom knew that I was going to go into Disney because of
Yes,
the earnings.
yes,
But
yes.
I kind of want to hit the
Disney. Bob
highlights.
Iger called and said, "Tell Brandon to talk about Disney." So
Yeah, Bob Iger, my best friend, other than you, Dave.
you have another friend besides me.
I played virtual reality shooting games with him all the time.
Nice. All right, let's get into it. Disney.
All right, the direct to consumer. So I just want to hit the highlights here. And if you got any questions, let me know because we've
I'm
already talked
ready.
a lot about Disney.
I
And
have one question, but I already told you what it's going to be about. So go ahead. You
I
already
don't
know it.
even
Go ahead.
remember what it is.
Abu Dhabi.
Okay. So some highlights here. What I saw, the direct to consumer business showing significant progress, operating income up to $336 million from 47 million last year. That's exponential growth there. Loved that. They said that this was driven by higher subscription and ad revenues. Uh, Mixed results and experiences. I thought domestic parts posted solid growth year over year. 9% revenue increase. Operating income was a 13% increase year over year. International struggled, I thought, and I expected that. International was negative 5%. Operating income was negative 23%. And that was mostly due to weakness, again, expected in Shanghai and Hong Kong with the economy in China not being so good.
Gotcha.
They're forecasting 6 to 8% operating income growth for experiences in this fiscal year. Linear networks are delivering $769 million in operating income despite a 13% revenue decline. Again, expected. Linear networks are in kind of a dying phase still at this point. But they did overall have a very great quarter, in my opinion. Quarter two FY 2025 results came in with an earnings per share of $1.81 versus $1.22, which was what was expected. That's a good beat. That's almost a home run there, in my opinion. 7% revenue growth. Sports showing a 7% domestic revenue growth and a 17% operating income on higher rights cost. Star India is now 37% majority interest, $18 million operating income there. They're maintaining their FY 2025 EPS guidance of $5.90. Raised their FY 26 by 20 cents to $6.40, and shareholders and investors alike loved that, which is why the stock went up. They reported a revenue of $23.62 billion. That was a 7% increase from the prior year. Adjusted earnings per share reached $1.45. That was a 20% improvement over analyst expectations. Disney's streaming division, this is what caught people by surprise in a good way, posted its fourth consecutive profitable quarter and increase in subscribers. So that's why, and
Gotcha.
that was a major reason why the stock price went higher.
Yeah, the stock price went way higher. It was a good return for you and anybody who listened to Brand on the show and bought Disney. My question is, if international doing so bad, are they just going to sink like billions of dollars into this Abu Dhabi park and it just not do well?
So I don't think Abu Dhabi is going to be a bad. I think the problem with international mostly rests in Shanghai and Hong Kong. I think that's been a big focus of Disney in recent years. I think they put a lot of money into those two parks. Eventually, those things will come back and turn around. I think Abu Dhabi, right now, they've showed a lot of tourism growth over the past 10 to 15 years. I think that this is going to be good for them, actually. It's going to take about 8 years for this to.
8 years to build?
So you're looking at roughly 4 to 6 years of construction, and that's going to come after 1 to 2 years of
I thought this was
design.
being built outside the United States. In the United States, I could see that, but I mean, come on, other countries do it better than us.
1 to 2 years of design, 4 to 6 years for construction after the design. So we're looking pretty far
Man,
out here.
Japan can rebuild a road that collapsed in like literally 24 hours, but yet, we have potholes that can't get fixed for 6, 9 months in the United
Right.
States.
Well, I agree. So they're saying that the park could open as early as 2030. I'm not expecting that,
Gotcha.
but it could happen.
I just think
What
it's a big expense. I hope it pays off for them. I know it's going to cost an arm and a leg. Um, I don't know.
what is more what is more what I'm more looking at right now, what's more in front of our faces, is Disney is expected next week to announce the details of their ESPN direct to consumer product. And that's expected to roll out in the fall. The announcement's going to come
Gotcha.
most likely in the coming 7 days and then rolls out into the fall. Um, right now, they're just calling it flagship. It may just be called ESPN when it rolls out. I don't know. What caught my eye about this too is who they're partnering with on this. So it's going to be Accenture, Microsoft, and Meta. And Meta's not that much of a surprise. They've already got a partnership. If you own a Meta Quest, you can go into the ESPN world there in VR. So there's
Yeah.
already a partnership there. There's probably going to be more partnership with live programming and sports and VR sports and such, is what I would expect from them.
Gotcha.
The direct to consumer product is going to be more personalized. There's going to be sports betting on it,
Yep.
which should
Yeah,
help.
Disney's just come out said they do want to partner with books. They did partner with, I think, who they ended up partnering with. It was Penn Gaming.
Yeah,
They partnered with them. They said they don't want to own a book ever right now. That's not in their interest. They just want to have a partnership.
it's been kind of a disaster, but this will hopefully push that higher.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Abu Dhabi. Yeah, you know that country is becoming more and more diversified every single year.
Yeah, it's a very popular tourist destination. I know a few
Dubai
people.
and Abu Dhabi, same country. It is now. I think I've reported on this before. It's between 15 and 20% Christian. It is got a large Hindu as well population. Jewish population is it's more diversified than you would expect for a country in the middle of the Middle East.
Both are very, very gorgeous areas.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. All right, moving on. Here we go. All right, you ready, Brandon? You ready to have some crow pie?
No,
This is the only time I'm gonna
no.
rub in on this. Here we go.
Cool.
So Brandon and I have gone back and forth about the tariffs. There was one point where I just said I'm gonna stop arguing because I explained where I believe we were going to be and why I believe that I was being speculative on the current administration and what
Th-
they wanted to do.
Then maybe you should shut up.
and and it turns out that I was correct.
No, that does not mean you were correct. Get
It,
into the
tur-
numbers and let's see what happens here.
turns out that Trump is making deals everywhere. So let's talk. Let's start
Uh,
with. I have two articles I want to. I just two. I could go to more, but I only have two, and I want to start with Japan. So this one is came out today at 12:38 a.m. So overnight last tonight this morning on 5/11/2025. Headline reads: Japan Prime Minister Ishiba reiterates call to eliminate all tariffs with the United States. So the
okay.
Japanese Prime Minister on Sunday said that they'll aim for elimination of all tariffs and trade negotiations with the United States. It says discussions have gradually come together, and that Tokyo's relationship with Donald Trump is surprisingly good. However, Ishiba said that Washington's agreement with London, which lowers prohibited duties on British car exports while keeping a baseline 10% tariff in place, was one model, quote unquote, for trade deals. But they're going to aim for, no, here, start of the quote, but we should aim for 0% tariffs. So Japan is really set on 0% across the board with the United States here. This is where they
It
want to
doesn't
go.
say with the United States because our president said 10% is floor.
Well, no, he did not say that. He said that 10%, and he said that there can be one-off deals that they exclude that 10%. So there can be. Um, basically, here's the quote. I actually got it right here. There can be exemptions when countries offer significant trade terms. So Japan is looking to offer some of these significant trade terms in order to get 0% across the board.
Even on steel.
All right. So we know that the United States and China have been meeting over the past weekend. And an article that came out just today at 12:41 p.m., so a little afternoon Eastern time, on to May 11th, 2025. The headline reads the deal. The headline reads US officials say deal struck to cut China trade deficit. Details to come on Monday. That is the big surprise. They're not going to announce it today. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jameson Greer said on Sunday they reached a deal with China to cut the U.S. trade deficit, describing substantial progress in high-stakes talks with the Chinese officials, but offering no details as 2 days of negotiations have concluded in Geneva. So they went to Geneva, they went to negotiate, they got a deal, they're leaving, they're going to announce the details of the deal Monday morning. This could send the markets into a nice tear positive. They seriously kept their mouths quiet about this. They said the U.S. Treasury chief has said that these duties amount to a trade embargo between the two largest economies and it needs to be de-escalated, making that comment before going into the negotiations. So they wanted to de-escalate. They wanted to come out with a deal. They said that the Chinese were very eager to go ahead and make a deal, which, Brandon, you have said on here before, this is really hurting their economy. And so this is something that needed to be done. They've been going back and forth. This has not been an easy moment for the Chinese, if you want to say. But overnight, Trump gave positive reading of the talk, saying that the two sides had negotiated this is a quote, a total reset in a friendly but constructive manner, end quote, from Donald Trump himself.
Okay. So
First thoughts.
it's going to have to be good news. It will be, because if it wasn't good news, they would have announced it today.
There you
So
go.
let the markets digest it. So the fact that we're getting the news on Monday during a day where the stock market trades, that leads me to believe that this is going to be good news, because the president does not want the stock market to tank any lower. He wants
Right.
it to keep higher, higher, higher.
So if here's my question then. So most people cannot purchase stocks right now over the weekend, right?
Right.
But you can purchase Bitcoin.
Yes.
Would you buy Bitcoin right now, knowing this,
I don't know.
thinking that the market would go higher come Monday morning?
I don't know. I don't know what the correlation on that's going to be.
Gotcha.
So, no, for me, no is my base answer, but that's just because I don't know.
Gotcha. All right. Fair enough. Because crypto can be traded 24/7, 365. It's a great avenue if you know something's going to happen, but and then deals are announced, quote unquote, on Saturdays, Sundays. Crypto's a good way to get in and kind of hedge on those things ahead of time.
There's a lot that's good with the Trump administration when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto, though. If you're an investor into those things, there's a lot more widespread adoption that's going to come about. Um, and previously, we were looking at cryptocurrency such like they are securities,
Yeah,
and now we're not going to be. It's going to be, different. The regulations are going to be different on it. They're going to be better for crypto investors. So,
yeah,
uh, I think right now, at least the next 2 to 3 years looks good for Bitcoin.
yeah. I know I own some, so I agree.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
you know I own some Solana. I agree. Yeah, I mean here we are, but yeah, that's huge news. Going to be a tear on the markets. No matter what you own, I believe you're going to make money as long as it's not something that's reporting bad news. That's my only caveat. As
Yeah,
long
so
as
I
it's
just
not something.
I
Yeah.
just asked what our baseline tariff rate is to Copilot on Bing. What our
Yeah.
baseline tariff, I asked what the baseline tariff with China was in 2024, and it said 10%. That doesn't sound right to me. So I think it was
Yeah.
higher. I think it was already higher.
It was already higher. Yeah, because the previous administration had racked it up even more.
So I want to know what our baseline tariff was versus where it's going to be. And then I also want to know, I think the big test right now is this, does Trump accept the prime minister of Japan's proposal to go to zero? Why not?
Why not? Yeah, Japan's a great trading partner. They have been for decades and decades and decades. Why not keep that alive?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right. I want to get into one last article here. It's company specific, but it paints a broader picture of where a lot of companies are going. Um, so this one has to do. This one you can actually find on CNBC. I don't usually go to CNBC for articles too often because everybody sees them and it's not really breaking news or any good news. But I do like this article and it paints a good picture of what I'm trying to point out here. So this one came out Sunday, 8 a.m. on May 11th. Annika Kim Costantino. I've read her articles before on the show. I don't know why I keep going back to her. I must appreciate her articles a lot. But headline reads: Walgreens doubles down on prescription fill-in robots to cut costs and free up pharmacists amid turnaround. So I'm not going to go into this whole article. It's quite long. And in it, you see some good pictures. So if you want to go on CNBC.com, read this article. It's a lot of good pictures of the machines they're talking about and of these what they call micro fulfillment centers that these machines work in, right? So Walgreens first rolled out the robot powered centers in 2021. They paused expansion in 2023 to focus on gathering results, data, feedback, how the performance did, so on and so forth. They told CNBC it hopes to have 11 micro fulfillment centers serve more than 5,000 stores by the end of the year. So basically, what this is, for me to try to explain it to you as if you had no idea what I'm talking about, they have robots fill in prescriptions in, I would want to call it, looks like think of a sauna that you sit in and it's a hot sauna, you're in there in a towel and you're sweating, something about that size that these robots work in, and a number of them all down the line working inside these little uh, areas, and it's a warehouse to where it's nothing but robots, and then like a couple people who manage the robots. By manage, I mean maintenance, make sure nothing goes wrong, there's no issues, and they do all the fulfillment of prescriptions and basic prescriptions and so on and so forth. That way, the pharmacists and the people actually at the retail stores don't have to. They just work on the more specialty prescription fulfillment, and they work on getting those immediate needs on prescription fulfillment. But these other ones are done by the robots. The robots they then go ships to a store to be picked up by customers. The customers go in. The thought process when they first rolled this out was to allow the pharmacists and the people behind the counters to have more time to interact with the customers. And that way you can offer up other available options, or you can, offer to take blood pressure, or, what have you, offer to help the customer coming in all kinds of other ways. And so what they saw was to date, the micro fulfillment centers have generated approximately $500 million in savings by cutting excess inventory and boosting efficiency. They added that the stores using these facilities are administering 40% more vaccines than those that aren't. And they're saying this because you now are allowing more time for the pharmacists and people behind the counters to talk to you and talk you into having these vaccines done. And thus, but they administer more vaccines, they make more money. So not only do you get the cost savings, but you're selling more of the product yourselves. Brandon, first thoughts.
So I'm surprised this hasn't happened already because back in 2006 through 2008, I worked for a company called Anthem Prescription, which was Anthem's mail-in prescription arm. And what it essentially was is it was a factory that fulfilled prescriptions. And so my job, half of the day, was to stand on the line. The machine would fill the prescription itself. I just put on the label, throw it into a packing, package, and then put the packing slip on it, make sure the address was right, put it on the line, and it would go into a box where it would go get shipped off. Um, and that I would do like 100 to 150 of those every hour. Just pack them up, send them out, and then the other half of my job was sitting at a computer making sure all the order entry was correct. Um, but yeah, so I'm surprised that hasn't already happened. Now, back then, those machines were ginormous. They were massive. There's no way you were going to get that into a Walgreens or a CVS. But with the way technology's progressed, here we are, and it's happening. So
It's
I'm.
not in a Walgreens or a CVS.
Oh, it's not. It's not
No,
inside the store.
no. So
Okay.
remember, this is a micro fulfillment center.
Okay.
So it's a warehouse where they're filling all these prescriptions, similar to what you were doing. And you have all these robots working all down the line, in their own little area, their own little sauna size type area, and they're all filling prescriptions. They're doing everything you just described, putting on the label, putting it in the package, reading it, making sure everything's correct. All that, everything your whole job you just described is now a robot that
So,
doesn't stop, that doesn't take breaks, that doesn't complain, that doesn't talk back, that doesn't do anything, but just do the job it's told to do.
and I've lost all my competitive advantages. I can't complain anymore. Dang it. No, look, I get it, but like, so now I'm thinking, are they mailing it direct to the customer, to their house, or
No,
is it
to the retail store. Some go to the customer, but most go to the retail store.
so now it sounds like an extra step in the logistics process that's going to
Yeah.
cause delays.
Well, yes and no. Number one, if the customer doesn't request mail to them, they would rather you go to the store so that you can sell those vaccines or you can sell some of the product as you walk to the store, make more money. And it's cheaper to just take it all in one big truckload to the store for them to hand out.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's the thing. But number two, they are available to ship to the consumer, the end
Okay.
consumer.
As long as the prescriptions are still there,
Yeah,
and I mean, it does seem like it's adding extra cost to it now.
it's not 500 million in cost savings.
Okay. Okay.
And as Walgreens is doing this at a time where they were seen losing their competitive advantage. I did a whole podcast on this about a year and a half ago, I believe, Brandon, somewhere around there.
Yeah, but
Because Walmart and Kroger were stealing share, Amazon was stealing shares from Walgreens, and Walgreens was trying to be innovative with their store brands and make more money because they make more money off the store brands. And so this is another way that they wanted to try to be competitive.
if I call in my prescription to Walgreens and say, for example, my normal pharmacy is at Kroger or Meijer or somewhere else.
Yeah.
If I call it into Walgreens, is it now going to take an extra day for them to fill my prescription because of this?
It depends. So the ones that they are filling, like I said, anything you need immediately, they can fill at the Walgreens.
Okay.
Also have specialty ones that they fill at the Wal that they have there, but it's the more basic, common ones that can wait. Like if you're on cholesterol medication, if you're on high blood pressure medication, the ones
That
that are
can
common
wait.
in the United States, they
It's
do
common
do this.
right
Yeah.
away. They can do it right away, but there's a lot of stuff like birth control, for example,
Birth
that
control
they
is
call
only
in.
done in stores. They covered that in the article. They knew
Okay.
people like you would ask that question.
Right.
That is only done in stores.
Because my concern now is if I'm at, a different pharmacy and say I want to switch to Walgreens, but then Walgreens is going to take another day to fill my prescription. Now all of a sudden I'm not going to go to Walgreens and that's going to stop them from gaining market share.
So I have a monthly prescription that I take, and whenever the prescription goes in to be filled, it does take a day for the Walgreens to get it, but I don't care because it's a monthly one, and I still have plenty of my other month by the time that one gets ready to be filled.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
not
want
in
to
a
make
rush.
sure that I can completely still be irresponsible on my side and that my girlfriend gets her birth control.
Yes, you can be irresponsible, Brandon.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Don't
continue
change
that.
my lifestyle, Walgreens.
Yes, don't do that. But yeah, so Walgreens is going private. This is one of the last opportunities, I guess, to buy it before you get bought out. I don't see the stock price really moving that much as it goes private by the end of this year. This is not big enough move to move it the price because they're having to create some deals in order to make the privatization happen. So
It's a lot of initial investment that it's going to require, even if it is savings down the line. So that may
yeah,
take it.
well, I mean,
So that may,
they did the initial rollout in 2021, then they paused in 2023 to look at the data and look at everything, and they've made a lot of savings.
yeah, okay.
So 4 years
Uh,
now that it's been running. For 4 years, it's been doing well for them.
okay.
So there you go. Brandon, that is all I have. It is that time of the show for your final thought. I want your final thought, please.
Are you buying Walgreens?
No, I
Okay.
have in the past, but I'm not buying it now.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy it either. Walgreens Boots Alliance. It's too much competition with CVS
Well, like I said,
and Kroger.
about whenever I did
Walmart.
that full on podcast of it, there's way too much competition. They're not being competitive. They are making money with their in-store brands. That's doing very well with them, but they have to get people in the store in order to buy the in-store brands, and that's where they were having trouble.
Okay. My final thought. You didn't go into earnings for this week because there aren't many, but there's one that matters a lot, and it's not Walgreens. It's Walmart. It's Walmart. It's Walmart that matters the most. That's probably going to be the most important earnings of the quarter for the entire macroeconomic
What are you
landscape.
looking for in Walmart?
I want to see how they say the consumer's doing. I want to. I'm not really necessarily looking for their quarterly results from the previous quarter. I'm looking for their forecast.
So Walmart in previous earnings has said that the grocery business has been an uptick for them, but then recently they have come out and said that they've taken a hit in the grocery business in certain sections, and everybody believes it's due to GLP-1 drugs. I don't know how true this all is, but hopefully on this earnings report that they cover some of that and they
There's
explain how the grocery business is doing, and are they continuing to see more higher in earning households come in and purchase and shop there.
I have a feeling that most of the Q&A is going to be based on tariffs, so but we'll see.
You
I
know,
think that's just how what analysts are going to lean towards.
and Walmart has like the strongest hand with any of these other countries as far as suppliers, as far as like how much they're willing to raise their price and accept a higher price. Because Walmart has come out, like I've reported on here, Walmart has said publicly, no, the suppliers need to eat that because we're not going to eat that.
Right.
And they can because it's Walmart. You get your product on the shelf from Walmart, you're bound to make money.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
it's
And then
your final thought, not
for
mine.
somebody who's
Sorry. I didn't mean
buying
to steal your thunder.
Cal-Maine Foods, their number one customer is Walmart. So if you're going to buy into that as well, then pay attention to the Walmart earnings.
There you go.
That's a big deal. And also, why haven't you bought Nvidia yet? If you haven't bought it, what are you waiting on? I want to know. I do want to hear this because Nvidia said they're clocking down their H20 chips to send to China because the U.S. outlawed that essentially and
Yeah.
said no, you can't ship this over. But then they clocked it down, they customized it, and they made it less powerful so that they could still have market share in China with it. I want to know in tomorrow. I want to see if there's any deals made as far as semiconductors and chips go for Nvidia. But buy Nvidia if you haven't bought it already. Stop waiting.
Right. There you go. My final thought is crypto, man. I still love it. I believe there's a huge future here. Solana is massive. Um, there's a lot of good ideas, a lot of good ways to make money in cryptocurrency, and I believe it's strong and has a great future. And every time it drops down to like Brandon, every time it drops down to like 20%, everybody's like, see, it's not worth it. And then it jumps right back up 25%, and they're like, man, I wish I would have bought it when it was down 20%. And I'm like, look, man, stop saying see and start saying I'll buy.
Do you
You
recommend
know,
that over Bitcoin?
huh?
Do you recommend that over Bitcoin or equal or
Right now I would buy Solana over Bitcoin. Yeah,
okay.
if you had to choose between the two, I would buy Solana.
Okay.
So, but that's all I have, man. That and cooler, man. I expect that to hit $2 here soon. So that goes up and down quite a bit. And right now it's in a down part. I believe it's going to go right back up.
Okay. We didn't discuss this pre-show, but what I
Okay.
want to do when you come back, because you're going to be on vacation for the next
I
two
am
weeks.
going to be gone for 2 weeks. It's you and Nick.
The
Yes.
next 2 weeks are going to be the chinchilla tariff shredding podcast. Now, just we'll try to diversify it as much as we can. But the fact
There
of
you
the
go.
matter is, what I want to do when you come back, I want that to be our first YouTube show.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm down for that. Let's do that. First
Awesome.
YouTube show. You heard it here first. Chinchilla Picking is going live. Not live, but we are going to YouTube. So Brandon's gonna have to do his
Yes.
hair. He's gonna have to
Yeah,
blur his background.
you get to see my gorgeous flowing locks, and then you'll wonder maybe it's Maybelline or
You're
maybe he's
gonna
born with
please everybody comment and tell him to get a better camera.
maybe he's,
Blurry. He has a blurry camera and he refuses to get a better one.
you're gonna wonder though. You're gonna wonder is it Maybelline or is he born with it?
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for listening. I'll see you guys in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, I will see you again. But as always, we hope that we have been entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make money. Have a good night.
Have a good night.